Yeah,
This video here is about raspberry meringue fudge that we make up here in our kitchens in Shetland. It means it's set in this frame. I use a hot knife and I scrape along the sides, and that just makes it loose so I can take it out the frame in one go.
what language do you think that is?
That sounds like English from somewhere near the UK, maybe Scotland or Ireland or something.
All right, thank you. Next one.
Hang on, we like the biao one. Faster, pepper. Wait, cut like huh? This one freshly like one day. Lao never teach you manners, is it?
Is that what language you think that is?
That to me sounds like maybe an Asian language. I'm not too familiar with those. Maybe Japanese. Yeah.
Thank you. Next is this one.
Wildlife and fishery agents in the front door Thibodeau showed them at Miss Boudreaux's house. Miss Boudreaux was so upset.
Oh, that's like Louisiana Creole English.
All right. This is second to last one.
Yeah, sorry, that's also English from somewhere in some rural part of the States, maybe. I don't know what region.
Okay, and oh, there's two more. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah.
Well, it's very hard to bring in my mind this thing. It's only sorry because I always look on the and happy eyes. You understand?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably also another form of English. Yeah.
Can you guess like an area if you think it's English?
Well, I said Scotland for the other one, but actually this sounded a little bit more like maybe Scotland to me.
I'll take that. Yeah.
All right.
This is the last one.
All right.
Have a children keeping because ain't the other rooms anyway. Got the window. They always approach to say I wasn't back on there with them. Say this song just rock and go through. You got 3 strands of buster. You ran over us to keep calling.
Okay, that also English, but I couldn't tell you maybe that from somewhere in the States that I can't really think of.
But you think this one's American and not European?
I think that one sounded American to me, yeah, but not sure from where exactly.
So you think everything that you heard except that one that sounded Asian were all English?
Yeah, but now I'm questioning whether that one might have been some kind of English that I couldn't tell.
Maybe. That's not how you're supposed to do research. That's a me thing that I could have ruined the research. But what makes something a language? What makes English English? How is that English if you couldn't, repeat back the words that were in it?
Sorry. So the question is, what makes all of these English? If I didn't quite understand them all, or sort of. Yeah, I don't. I guess they all kind of maybe they have like a certain ancestral root or something. They branch off from like, I don't know. That Creole was interesting. Because there's a lot of French mixed in there too. Yeah, I don't. Like I grew up speaking. My first language is Spanish, so I think when I hear and my folks are from Mexico, so. When I hear Argentinians speak Spanish, sometimes I'm like, I have no idea what on earth that is, but I know they're speaking Spanish,
Yeah, like in Spain, they say like the name Ignacio, they say Ignacio with a
yeah. And of course, Mexican Spanish is full of a lot of indigenous words that we use, but nowhere else, no other Spanish-speaking country would use because it's sort of like, well, they're like Nahuatl words or they're Mayan words that other Latin American countries would not use, right? They have their own versions of those.
And bonus points for you for knowing Nahuatl, just the fact that that's an indigenous language of Mexico, because lots of people forget about that even existing. Thank you. I think that's good, right?
This video here is about raspberry meringue fudge that we make up here in our kitchens in Shetland. It means it's set in this frame. I use a hot knife and I scrape along the sides, and that just makes it loose so I can take it out the frame in one go. I love it.
What language is that?
I don't know. I heard her say something about scribbling on the side, so I have no clue.
What would you say? Oh, maybe
like Dutch or Sweden or something like that.
That was crazy.
Wait, no, I'm right?
No, I was saying.
I'm about to say, like, wait, like, hold on. Like,
It's the next one.
Hang on, we like the 表 one. Faster, better. Wait, 卡克来卡 This one freshly like one 呢，因为老母 never teach you manners, is it? 呸！天，干嘛？
What language is that?
Korean.
Good guess. I'm just saying good guess to everything. Don't take that as a...
It's cool.
Chinese, Vietnamese, maybe.
Yeah. It's the next one.
Wildlife and fishery agents. Fano Thibodeau showed up at Miss Boudreaux's house. Miss Boudreaux was so upset and crying. Mr. Boudreaux ain't come back from fishing. So Fano Thibodeau, the wildlife fishery agent, said, we're going to find him, Miss Boudreaux. Don't worry, we're going to find him. So they went out. He come back that afternoon, man. Got his hat in his hand. He said, Miss Boudreaux, we got some good news and we got some bad news. Which one you want first, man? And she said,
What language is that?
Creole. Or like a version of that Louisiana backwater type.
English. I don't know.
Yeah, it was English, but that was a dialect of English. That wasn't like straight up English per se.
So y'all saying a dialect of English? Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
Sorry.
Just outside of the anal parts there. They ain't cutting that off further, that crowd going out.
And we're talking among our...
What language is that?
Yeah, that was English, but maybe again a country dialect.
So you're saying country? What country? Because like England, America,
like an American country, more like. I don't want to start people's states and stuff.
No, you're good. But you say American. Just country. Like Australia, you saying America.
Yeah, like no Mississippi, like country.
Yeah. All right, there's two more left.
Well, it's very hard to bring him to mind this season thing. It's only sorry with his eyes and look on the and happy his eyes. You understand?
What language is that?
It sounded like Irish, but okay, maybe, but still that would be English, right? But that's more like an Irish accent that I heard, but with like a broken English.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And this is
able to make out words, so.
This is the last one, so pay close attention.
They I'm sure have a children keeping because they ain't near the rooms anyway. Got the window. They always approached to say he wasn't back up there with them. They just always just crack and go through them. You got 3 strands of bush nearly all around the whole first to keep cattling in you.
What language is that?
Yeah, I'm gonna say English. I don't.
I heard 3 strands. I heard 3 strands in the middle of all of whatever that was. But still, like, it's gonna be English. It's just a broken. If you understood it, whoever you are, I guess you could say it was English, because I definitely understood the 3 strands.
So you're an English speaker. So you're saying, as an English speaker, if you understand what they're saying, then it's probably English because you understand the words.
I'm gonna say I didn't make up English, so that's not for me to decide. But I'm
yeah, of course.
If you understood it, then you understood it. I will say that. But
I'm not trying to give you any gotchas.
No. I'm just saying as far as the of what you said. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I to say? Like, cool. is English my number 1 language? It's the language that I was given, I suppose.
Yeah, I always call it like I feel weird because my family is Haitian, but it was never like taught like Haitian Creole. So it's like,
and you're blessed to even know that. If you didn't know your family was Haitian, your little language would be gone in the wind. You wouldn't know anything about it.
Yeah, no. So it's like I always say, like, English is like my mother's father's slave master's tongue.
Right.
Look, when you start backtracking the facts, who knows what you would run into? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So would you say you understood any of those clips?
Would you say you didn't understand? But even some of the stuff that I didn't understand, I can understand it. Wait a minute, you're speaking English, because I understand a few points or whatever.
Like some of it sounds.
Some of it's gibberish, sure. Or sounds like gibberish to me. But I'm sure if you grow up around some gibberish,
right.
It might not be gibberish. I'm
so
sure.
So then the question is, if you grew up, or excuse me, if you didn't grow up around that, and that's all gibberish to you. At what point does it stop being English and it's a new language?
Then it to who? You know what I mean? Then it's like to who? Exactly. I couldn't be able to tell you that.
How much of the population is speaking like that?
Right. So all those clips are some dialect of English. Some people might already consider some of those a different language, but that's kind of what we're trying to do here is have people listen to these and say, like, if all these English speakers don't really understand what they're saying, at what point does it stop being English?
Yeah.
Right. Because some of those, two of those were Scots, which some people consider a different language. Some people say it's a dialect of English.
And then it's kind of different if you had someone, if they were in person, just because there's more to communicating. Maybe we'd be able to understand a little more what they're saying just by their body language, or how we're just able to pick up a little bit of words or whatever the case may be. But that was pretty hard.
Yeah, that's the point. That's supposed to be hard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm going to play these clips, and I just want you to tell me what language you think it is, all right? First one.
This video here is about raspberry meringue fudge that we make up here in our kitchens in Shetland. It means it's set in this from I use a hot knife and I scrape along the sides, and that just makes it loose so I can take it out the from in one go. I love it.
Or Russian?
I want to say like Belarus, like maybe Belarus.
Okay. We'll tell you the answers afterwards. All right. Number 2.
We like the 表 one. Faster, better. Wait. 卡克来卡. This one freshly like one.
Oh, that's definitely
Asian.
Asian.
Never teach you manners, is it?
It's either Thai. No, it's not Thai, because Thai has a little bit more.
Play it again, one more time.
Hang on, we like the 表 one. Faster, better. Wait. 卡克来卡. This one freshly like one. 老婆 never teach you manners, is it?
Yeah, it's a mix.
Maybe
something.
Malaysia? Maybe Malaysian?
No, it's not Malaysian either. They have a certain tone to them.
All right. Number 3.
The wildlife and fishery agents, Fano Thibodeau showed up at Miss Boudreaux's house. Miss Boudreaux was so upset, crying. Mr.
That sounds like Irish or no, definitely Irish or Scottish. It's one of those. They're very similar.
I have no guesses.
All right, number 4.
All right.
That sounds like Vietnamese. That sounds like Vietnamese.
Yeah, Vietnamese.
All right, number 5.
Well, it's very hard to bring him to mind. This is the thing. It's only even his eyes and going and have his eyes.
Like Chinese.
You understand?
No, it's not.
No, maybe not Cantonese. It's got to be a different dialect. I would say Chinese, but some kind of dialect.
Some kind of Chinese?
Yeah, some kind of Chinese, yeah.
Okay, and last one.
I'm sure have a children gate me because ain't the other rooms anyway.
Australian?
I always supposed to say I wasn't back up there with them.
That's not Turkish?
No, that's English.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, Australian. I would say Australian.
All right. Would you believe me if I told you they're all English?
No way.
So what we're trying to do here is basically try to figure out when does something stop being a dialect and start becoming a new language, right? So all of these, according to some people, are a dialect of English, but according to others, they might already think it's a different language. For example, the next to last one is Scots from Glasgow, and the first one as well is Scots, but from the Shetland Islands. So some people say that's a different language. Some people say it's a dialect of English.
I wasn't paying attention to the words. So I was paying more attention to kind of the
sound of their
accent and all that. So I didn't care about what they were saying.
Yeah, I didn't want to lead you to think it was English. I just wanted to see if you could hear it. So if you hear this, knowing that it's English, but you can't understand it as English speakers yourselves, at what point do you think it stops being English? Do you think some of those should be called their own language?
I think that's still considered English to me. So it's just different,
it's just kind of like a different sound tone or whatever.
I would for example, someone who's talking to me like that, I would just still try to spark a conversation, and maybe try to slow down some of the words to kind of better understand. But I still kind of count it as as English language. It's just different style,
So the one you thought was Asian, well, this one of these, I think it was this one. I think you said, I don't remember that one, or one of them you said was some kind of Chinese. I think it was maybe the Scottish one. And then this one I think you might have been Malay or Vietnamese. was actually a accent of English from Virginia, from an island on the east coast of Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called Tangier Island. It's small, very isolated, so their accent's really different.
Know that, yeah.
And the one you thought was maybe this one
Hang
here.
on, we like to piao one.
That's Singlish.
It's just
So
so
it's
hard
Singapore
to-
English.
Yeah.
So they speak English, but it's heavily influenced by Malay and Chinese languages.
Gotcha.
Right. And then this one you said was Irish or Scottish. This is actually Cajun, Louisiana accent. So right next door.
So I guess in my opinion, our style of English is not really all the full English that
Right.
we know globally.
Mhm.
So it doesn't mean that my English is the same as the like other folks English. It could be English, it's just not I'm
Right.
not used to.
So even
I'm
if
not
you don't
used to,
understand it, you think it's still English.
I still think English.
Yeah, I still think
it just means that I'm not as exposed,
Right,
as I
exactly.
think I am,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Because I'm just my world is right here,
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I just didn't get to get
So let me
exposed to that
ask you
kinda
one more
different
question,
English,
kind of the opposite. If you have, for example, Swedish and Norwegian and Danish speakers can all understand each other, but they call them different languages, even though they did understand each other. But here we have an English that you don't understand, but you still call it English.
Oh, yeah.
So, what separates a dialect from a language? How would you define that?
That's kind of dialect to me. I guess I'm not really. I don't know what's the real definition of dialect. I guess to me is it like so they could be like the same origin, like let's say with different dialects, like let's say it came from English, it's just kind of on that region.
Yeah.
Kind of got developed, to kind of like a new like route on dialect,
Right.
because like over time in the history maybe it kind of got to that kind of route. But if it's like that, then I would consider it a dialect. If that's what a dialect would mean. Right. So
All right.
it's still an I don't know what's the real.
I'd say it's like a
definition.
branch of the
Yeah.
main
It's like a
one.
branch of English is how I see it when
But
you say dialect.
I just know from so we're from Philippines, so we have many dialects, but some words kind
are
of
about the same.
So it translates
same
well,
origin,
but
yeah.
they're just from a different region.
But she
Right.
can't understand my dialect,
Yeah,
like
so
I
he
have
has a different
in the
dialect than I do.
Right.
So I have the most common dialect. I speak the most common dialect, whereas he's from the south, so his
But in
dialect
order for
is
us to
different.
communicate, she can't use her dialect and my dialect. It would be like a common ground, is what
Right.
Yeah.
everyone kind of uses, for
Yeah,
our language, for Filipino, for Tagalog,
Right.
for example,
Yeah, yeah, of
So,
course.
yeah. So
All
that's
right.
cool.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Rolling? All right. So this is clip number 1. Let me know what language you think this is.
When it comes out in one, like moving around ages is a good achievement because sometimes it's stuck around the middle and you kind of hawk a wire to take it off. Our foot just hard dropped and you can see.
That sound English to me.
What kind of English? Did you understand any of it?
Yeah, I can understand it. It was English, but I was like, hold on, that's English. Like,
All right.
English.
All right.
Of course, you can hear the accent. I wasn't going with the accent. I couldn't hear the accent.
Right. Okay. Number 2.
卡克莱卡，this one freshly like one day. You老不 never teach you manners, is it?
That sounds like Arabic.
Nah,
Arabic?
I was going close to French.
French. Okay. We'll reveal the answers at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
And she said, oh Lord, have mercy, get rid of her bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. The clip needs to start over. Here we go.
Wildlife and fishery agency. Fano Thibodeau showed up at Miss Boudreaux's house. Miss Boudreaux was so upset, crying. Mr. Boudreaux ain't come back from fishing. Fano Thibodeau, the wildlife fishery agency. We're gonna find her, Miss Boudreaux. Don't worry, we're gonna find her.
Is that Farsi?
I'm about to say that sound.
Farsi.
That sound Middle Eastern to me, but I couldn't hear it.
All right. Yeah. I know this one's quiet. Yeah. All right. Number was this 4?
They ain't cutting that off either, that crap going out.
We're talking now.
That's a European language. I don't know which one, but
I think
that's
it might be Czech.
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 All right, 5.
Well, it's very hard to bring in my mind the things that I can sorry with his eyes and going there and happy his eyes. You understand?
That sounded Russian.
Russian.
I'm just going, so yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't want to piggyback off of him, but yeah, I'm going European, something over there.
Okay, last one.
Sure have a chocolate cake because I ain't near the rooms anyway. Got the window. I always approach to say I wasn't back up there with them. Say so you just rock and go through. You got 3 strands of bush nearly all around the whole first to keep Catlin, ain't you?
German?
German?
Nothing. Got nothing on that one.
Would you believe me if I told you they're all English?
Because I heard different English. I heard English in every single one of them. I thought I was tripping.
Yeah, so the first one is, well, whether it's English or not depends on who you ask. What we're trying to do here is look at dialects that are very different and try to decide at what point does a dialect become a new language, right? So this first one is Scots from the Shetland Islands. And some people say Scots is its own language, some say it's a dialect of English. The second one is Singlish, Singapore English. So that's English, but it's heavily influenced by Malay and Chinese languages and some Indian languages. The third one is Cajun from Louisiana accent. So that one was right next door.
I said French. I said French.
I think you said French for a different one.
Okay, but at the same time on a different note, yeah, you're right. I should have got that because my wife from New Orleans, my ex-wife from New Orleans. Okay. Yeah, my whole household.
You should have gotten that one. All right, the fourth one is from Tangier Island, Virginia. East Coast, Virginia.
That's crazy. I don't remember what I said.
I think that was one you didn't recognize. The fifth one was Scots from Glasgow.
Okay.
So that's another Scots as well. Yeah. And then the last one was someone from southwest England. Yeah. So at what point do you think some of these should be called a different language because you had such trouble understanding them as English speakers?
Yes, I do. Because they changed the dialect, so
Right.
it's like it's different. So it should be its own.
Yeah, like Spanish, French, and Italian all used to be Latin, and then someday they were different languages. So at what point are these dialects no longer English is what we're trying to get at.
Exactly. I think they should all be their own individual language.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is my sister. She just got home from 5 months of traveling to how many countries?
9 different countries.
9 different countries. So I thought she'd be good at this. Okay, so you're going to listen to an audio clip and tell us what language you think it is.
Okay.
So any ideas on that one?
I mean, I think that I picked up on some English words, unless I'm going crazy.
So do you think it was English or just borrowed words?
I think it was English with a really heavy accent that
From where?
that was hard to understand. If I had to guess, it sounded like it would be maybe like somewhere in Scandinavia.
Okay. All right, number 2.
That definitely sounded like an East Asian language to me. I'm not the best about knowing the difference between how all of them sound, but I would guess that was Japanese or Korean.
Okay.
That also sounded like English to me. At first, I thought maybe it was like an African language, but then I thought they were speaking English.
From where?
Oh, from where? Oh, I have no idea. Like somewhere in the South? That also sounded a little bit like English to me, so I don't know what's going on. It sounded a little bit, I'm trying to think, like like French Canadian or Canadian accent? I don't know.
Okay.
That sounded like kind of Scottish to me, but at the end I thought I heard the word understand, so I don't know if he was just asking, do you understand? But it kind of sounded Scottish. Well, is Scottish a language?
Good question.
That also sounded like English,
Hmm.
and that sounded like a really heavy, I don't know the English regional accents well enough, but it sounded like one of those really thick accents that you would hear sometimes on Love Island and not be able to understand and not be able to stand.
Which Love Island?
UK Love Island, and sometimes they bring Scottish people or Irish people on there too.
Okay, so yeah, they're all English, depending on who you ask.
That's what I was
The point of this is to find out, to test, when do you think a dialect becomes a language, a new language, separate from its parent language, so to speak, right? So Scots, you mentioned Scottish. My whole master's thesis was about Scots, the creation of the Scots language. Some people call it a language, some people say it's just a dialect of English. There's really no definition linguistically, right? So that's what we're trying to do. If there's these dialects, for those, do you think you understood any of these? Just a few words or a sentence?
I thought that I understood a few words in each of them, except for the one that I said definitely sounded East Asian.
That was Singlish.
Singapore?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Where we lived and where she just left, by the way.
So I wasn't completely off. I could tell the tone sounded like Asian.
Yeah, but not Korean or Japanese.
Yeah.
Of course. It's English with a lot of influence from Mandarin and Malay and Tamil, right? And other Chinese languages. But yeah, so each of those, I had two that were Scots. One was from the Shetland Islands. One was from Glasgow. I had one that was Cajun. So like Louisiana, kind of Creole-ish English. And one of them was from Tangier Island, which is a small island in Virginia in the Chesapeake Bay.
Oh.
It's just a small island that's been relatively isolated, so their dialect is very different. And what else? And the last one you thought might be like Love Island. It's from England, not Scotland, but rather someplace near the West Country. So like kind of central southwest England.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I thought that I was catching on to the fact that they were all speaking English, but then I couldn't understand a lot of what they're saying.
So do you think any of those should be considered a separate language, considering as a native speaker of one of the most widely used dialects of English, you couldn't even understand most of what they were saying?
I mean, me personally, I don't think it should be a separate language, but I would understand if people say like, oh, this is a certain dialect of English, just like how we speak English in America and in Britain.
So how different does it need to be before you'd say it's a different language?
Like they're using different words or a different dictionary, alphabet, vocabulary.
You don't think they already are?
I think they're using some different words, but not different enough. So I don't know where the line is.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Listen to this video and tell me what language you think this is.
This video here is about raspberry meringue fudge that we make up here in our kitchens in Shetland. It means it's set in this frame. I use a hot knife and I scrape along the sides, and that just makes it loose so I can take it out the frame in one go. How often it comes out in one, like nothing around the edges, is a good achievement because sometimes it's stuck around the middle and you kind of hawk a wire to take it off. Our fudge is hand chopped, and you can see it's never perfectly straight, the same size pieces, but I think that's really good because when you get a bag, then you can have the bigger pieces and share just the penny bits. We use local Shetland butter and local Shetland cream and we're fudges, and this is the raspberry.
So, what language do you think that is?
That's Scottish English. I think it's Highland Scottish. It has a Gaelic influence. It's spoken in the Shetland Islands, probably similar to Faroese in the Faroe Islands, but I don't think it's a Scandinavian language. I think it's still Celtic family origin, not Germanic.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of Celtic and I was and Gaelic influence. I was thinking, that's why I said Scottish English.
Should we move on to the next one then?
Yeah.
What language is this?
Can't hear it again.
Which one do you want first then?
What language is that?
It sounds like a Caribbean pidgin, so maybe part of Jamaica.
American Cajun, descendants from Acadian French people.
All right, next one.
I'll say British English, maybe Wales, but British English.
Yeah, I go with that. I think somewhere in the UK, maybe the Midlands.
What language is that?
Sounds like some island Creole, maybe Haitian. No, not Haitian Creole. It's a place where they have lighter skin. So maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with maybe Haitian Creole.
It sounded pretty close to some of the other ones that we've been in. To be honest with you, if I had to guess, I would guess, some sort of Caribbean diaspora English.
All right.
You got 3 strands of mustard all around the whole earth to get got in you.
I think that's a white South African.
See, I was thinking something more Western Europe. Maybe that's a good pick, though. That is a good pick because they do sound similar.
Yeah,
it did sound more gruff and Dutch-ish influence than it was like British. Because I wasn't say something like Irish. I'll say Irish English, but.
Wait, 卡克来看，this one freshly like one leh. You老母 never teach you manners, is it? 呸！天，God no.
What language is that?
I'm going with Flemish.
I think it's definitely East Asia, either Korean or Japanese, but it's probably Japanese. I know words in Japanese, I don't know words in Korean, but I didn't pick up any words from that. But
all right, that last one was Singaporean English, Singlish.
Okay.
The other ones were all so.
Oh yeah, it did sound. That did sound like.
By the one you did not get was Tangir. You said it was some kind of dialect of a Caribbean patois, but it was from the Tangir Islands in Virginia. Have you ever heard of those?
Yeah, it's like the descendants of former slaves, right? It's like that's off of Georgia, right, or off of South Carolina? Yeah.
You're talking about
it reminded me of that. It sounded similar to that.
Off Virginia?
Yeah.
So
it's an isolated island off Virginia.
Isolated island off Virginia. So probably about here late 1600s.
Scotland? Yeah. You guys got that right?
Glasgow?
Yes.
And one of them was the Shetland Islands. You got that. Yeah.
I think this is probably the best group we've interviewed so far about skin color. What made you say that?
What did I say about skin color?
You said the guy probably has a lighter skin color.
Oh, that Creole, that Haitian Creole, there's a film starring Leonardo DiCaprio where he plays someone who's speaking Haitian Creole. I've never seen the film. I've watched videos about dialects, and it sounds similar to that. I know that sometimes that different ethnic groups, when they have different linguistics backgrounds. So if someone has more of a European background, sometimes they have mixed with mulatto or white heritage. Whereas someone has more slave, they can be more African or even more of their own collective.
So would you say that all of these are English?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you understand every word that they were saying in these videos?
No, but when I think of English, I think contemporary languages are very centralized, or at least they're becoming more centralized. But I think of English as like a broader family. It's some of them are almost unintelligible, so that could be an argument for a different language, but I still look at them in a similar grouping that I would label as English.
What was the question? Do I understand them all?
No.
Or are they all
English?
English. You said yes to that, and even though you didn't understand them all, you still consider them English.
Yeah. So I may be cousins with him, or actually I'm clearly not cousins with him, but we may share a common ancestor, but we're both people, but we're not the same. That language works the same way. So when I said American English, or I say American English, earlier I said Scottish English for one answer. it's because it has more of a Scottish root, which has Gaelic and other influences over there, whereas American English that we know it has part Spanish, part Germanic influence, and then our own, and British, of course, and we evolved from that. So it's just taking different routes.
Do you have any questions for them?